Hey everyone, I'm Jessica, here to talk about another solo game, and this one is probably very unexpected, mostly because I figured I would never come across this out there in the world. I found it at a local board game swap for a whopping $5 the other day. So I said I would like to give that a try. And this one, it is not, was it published 10 years ago? No, 20? No, 30? No, keep going. Over 50 years ago. I'm talking about Outdoor Survival, a game about wilderness skills. Now, if you look this up right now, it has a very low rating, for good reason. However, I want to kind of approach it as something that you can kind of see where some modern designs may have come along from, how in some ways I think this may have been a little bit ahead of its time. It's not a perfect game. It may even not be a great game. But I think that it has some really neat elements, and I think to start off with, it really is just nice to see a game from 50 years ago. This copy is in almost perfect condition. I think there's like a slight crease across the box bottom, and that's the worst thing about it. Just knowing that some of these games can last 50 years and be in great condition and be kept this well and still be a nice discovery. Just think about 50 years from now about other people who will be discovering the hobby and looking back at something. And a lot of games do stand the test of time in different ways. They may not be great, but it is just nice to kind of see it from a sort of historical standpoint. And also, this box cover, I don't know why, I just really, really like it. It feels like it's from the 70s, and that's great. This one is more of a wildlife or wilderness simulation where there are different scenarios. I mean, this is from 1972, so it's got a fair amount of stuff, I would say. I mean, there's a little scenario booklet. I just want to be careful with sort of going through these a little more gently than I would with other things. But you can kind of see there's different scenarios. There are rules to make it a little more complex if you want to have, what are these called? Like wilderness encounters. Unfortunately, it does kind of boil down to a roll and move. It includes, I'm hoping this is the original die, but this tiny little thing from potentially 1972, it's a small die. And that determines a lot of what you are going to do and how you can move. It is not as bad as I thought it would be, but absolutely, is this a roll and move type of game? Yes, sort of. But there are different scenarios to try out, and I need to explore some of those. I'm not going to take the map out. I'll kind of put up some pictures to show you what that looks like. It's an awesome hex map, split into 3 sections. I just want to be careful with it because, again, it's 50. We got to respect these components and be nice with them. But the other big part of this is, what is this called? The life level index chart. So you'll be tracking your food level, your water level, and your own hiker level. If I kind of zoom in on that, the life level index there is actually kind of, it's interesting. I like how it kind of goes from like, I'm fine, I'm going on a nice walk, to I'm barely crawling along and I can't go anywhere, but I'm still alive for at least a turn. And it really is just, I've only played the Lost scenario so far, which I know is not the best introduction to it. So I'm looking forward to playing more of these. Another nice thing is that there is a community that has built out some of these scenarios over the years. So there's a couple that I was like, oh, that sounds pretty fun. I'm going to try that out. And it reminded me in a way of some of the solo RPGs that I play, or solo journaling RPGs, where you are creating a map as you go and kind of exploring as you go. Sort of like Be Like a Cat or Be Like a Crow, if you've played one of those. You are one of those animals, and it's not so much about survival, but it is about exploring what's around and sort of building that out. This game doesn't really build it out, but you are exploring, you are kind of randomly moving around a little bit, and I think it does best when you sort of add a little story to it. So rather than just rolling and doing this, and I'm going to roll and do that, adding a little role-playing actually seems to improve it, at least for me. And I am playing this sort of in the the homeward bound type of realm of I have little animals that are on the map and we're trying to get them home. That's how I'm looking at a lot of these scenarios. We will see how that pans out, but if you know me, that's probably what I'm going to do versus having some person out there who may starve to death or die of dehydration and thirst. That's fine. Let's just pretend we're going to get them home. We just want some animals home. That's all I'm doing here. But it's nice to see it, and yes, it's 50 years old, so it's going to have a lot of rough edges, and like I said, it's a roll and move, and there's probably too much randomness where you're forced to go in one direction sometimes when you know where you should be going, and it just kind of sets you back with no real reason for it. And kind of how I said about those, where are they? What did I do with them? The wilderness exploration tables, or encounter tables, sorry. You know, something like this is, you're just rolling a die and that's what happens. You don't really have any control over what you're trying to accomplish. Like, you know, if I was in an area with no water, I probably want to look for water, and I would want to have sort of some chances to do that. There's no equipment that I can see that sort of, you know, would maybe potentially help you out, a one-time use skill or something like that. Setting that aside though, this is a really interesting look back though at a 1972 game that probably no one has heard of. This does not look like it was super popular, but seeing it in today's light, I see some nice elements with it, and I am looking forward to playing through some more of those scenarios, trying some of the fan-created ones, and going back in time in a way. I do enjoy that this copy also includes the primer on wilderness skills, so I mean, there's many things to learn apparently. I'm not sure how accurate this would be from 50 years ago, but you know, I can go identify some animal prints. Are those the same from 50 years ago? Yes, I know they are. But there's some other things that are like, there's a whole bunch of stuff about first aid. Is this accurate still? I would question it. I'm not going to use that for first aid skills. But just having that is kind of a nice thing. Again, tying into that theme and sort of adding some story to it and a little bit of role playing just to make it so that it's not just this roll and move type situation. Other things that were interesting in here, I mean, this one still includes, these are clips for the side of the board because again, it's a tri-fold, but it's in 3 different sections, so that kind of keeps it together. And there is actually still the original postcard to send into the company to do this. And I think there's a section on here under here about your brochure, and the last sentence, I swear that I have the necessary gray matter to enjoy your games. It's just, I had a good laugh over that, and I'm still laughing about it. But I'm excited to explore this in time. I don't think this is something that I'll just, you know, I'm not going to get it on my table and play through all these scenarios at once. It's every now and then. They take around 5 to 15 minutes, and I had a couple characters, so I don't expect this to be this big, great simulation type thing, but for 50 years old, this is a pretty great game. At least I'm excited for it, especially because it was one of those games that I just found unexpectedly. I wasn't actually looking for it. I had heard of it and seen, you know, a couple plays here and there, but it was not something on my wish list. I wasn't really looking for it, and to just kind of see it on a table at this board game swap, I was just like, oh, that could be kind of cool. So for $5, I definitely feel like I got something that I will get that value out of. And again, it's just fun to look at the past and see how this design sort of could actually apply today, and how, you know, with a little bit of work, this does feel like something that would fit in today's modern board game landscape, if you will, especially in that solo realm of role-playing or role-playing and journaling or even map making. Pretty cool. So that again, gently, we pick this up. Outdoor Survival, a game about wilderness skills. I don't have any, but this game gives me hope that I might. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you get some great solo games to your table soon. Take care. Bye.